Flare yellow. What do you think of it? This is the 2018 Lexus RC 300F Sport. Huge thank you to Lexus for providing me this vehicle to review for you guys. We're gonna take a look at the exterior, the interior, and of course we're gonna go for a test drive and see if this thing is as fast as it looks. Thank you for tuning in to the Everyman Driver channel. My name is Nolan Merrill from the Prime Autotainment channel. Let's take a look at this thing and get started. All right, what is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited to show you this RC 300F Sport. The F Sport is my favorite part of this car. It really gives it some unique looks, and it makes it look sportier than it really is, but it's a nice looking car and a pretty good coupe delivering from Lexus. So starting out on the exterior, like I said, this is the Flare Yellow, which is a unique color. It's not as bright as some other yellows that I've seen. It's a little bit darker and it's pretty unique. I'd like to know what y'all think of that below. And that is an optional color, in fact. But starting up front at the grille, this F Sport grille, you get that black grille, typical to other F Sport models. And it's definitely, some people find it pretty polarizing. I find it attractive. I do like Lexus's design style, but then when you get to the headlights, we do have LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and those daytime running lights are the check mark, the L daytime running lights, and they definitely stand out. They surely stand out, especially because they're separated from the actual headlight. And then on our particular model, we do have optional LED fog lights, and they're kind of just, they're real small, but they're integrated down into the bumper down there. This RC is built on its own high rigidity platform. It does get 18 to 19 inch wheels, and on our model with the F Sport, we get 19 inch wheels, which will give us 235 tires in the front and 265 in the back. So you're definitely going to get better traction with this F Sport package and these wheels. Another thing about the wheels is that we have the optional orange brake calipers, and I just think it's kind of silly considering we have a yellow car, and orange with this just doesn't go very well together, but it's unique and it helps your car stand out a little bit more. As far as the driving and the handling, this does have a double wishbone front multi-link rear suspension from the GS, in fact, and it's a nice riding car. When you're not pushing it and you just want it to be fairly comfortable, something that you can just daily drive, it can definitely do that for you. It's a comfortable driving car. I've had no complaints with that. But we also get an adaptive variable suspension, AVS, and when you put it in the Sport Plus mode, which we will go over a little bit later, all the driving modes in our test drive portion, it will change its dampening. It's very instant, and it'll give you the optimal ride and handling for performance. And of course, we do have the coupe model here. The RC is only a coupe model. The relative IS, which I have reviewed before, is the sedan version. They're very similar. That IS that I reviewed had the same engine. And if you'd like to see that review, I'll put a link in the description below. And then as we start moving around the back, we do get our tail lights are LED combination lamps, and they do look kind of cool. They kind of have a unique L-type shape to them, similar to the LED daytime running lights. They're pretty bright. They look nice. We do have the optional rear spoiler, in fact, on that trunk lid, and we do have a dual chrome exhaust. In the rear of this car, I think it fits the front, it fits the shaping, and overall puts a nice package together for this RC. And then in addition to all of that, we do have the Lexus Safety System Plus, which will give us pre-collision system, lane departure alert with assist, intelligent automatic high beams, high-speed dynamic radar cruise control, and then optional on this trim, we do have blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert. And in this coupe, I would definitely recommend it. Of course, you can move your mirrors where you need them to, and you can have good coverage, but it's always nice to have. Now, the key fob for this, we do have the Smart Access key fob, which is standard. It does give you illuminated entry, so when you walk up to the car, the interior of the car will light up. Plus, the door handle will illuminate. There's a little light right under there. It looks nice, it's convenient, and then when you open it up, you do have puddle lighting right by your feet, and we have the optional illuminated sill plates, which just say Lexus, and it looks pretty nice. Moving back to that trunk back there, it is a pretty small trunk. It's 10.4 cubic feet, but you do have some decent pockets on both sides. You even do get a spare tire underneath, so that's always nice, except the rim on this thing is kind of a nasty yellow, so I hope you don't have to get a flat tire. But anyways, you do have split folding seats, so that is helpful. Both sides can fold down, which is always a nice convenience feature. Okay, so moving into this interior, once you hop inside, these seats are very comfortable in this F Sport package. These are not actually leather seats. It's Lexus's new Lux, which is a synthetic leather, and I really like them. They are very comfortable. In this trim model, we do have 3-way memory seats with the memory settings on the door. They've got pretty good bolstering for your thighs, pretty good bolstering for your sides. They're 10-way power adjustable for the driver, 8-way for the passenger, and there's not actually lumbar support for your passenger. Something that I did not see coming, but something to keep in mind. But for me, I've been very comfortable. There's also a power steering column, and there is no trouble being comfortable in here, and when you're going around some turns pretty fast, they hold you in place pretty well. Aside from that, you do have nice materials pretty much everywhere around you. We do have this upper part of the door is semi-soft. It feels nice, but then the armrest is really nice. We do have some stitching, and it's just a nice place to rest your arm. Everything's very comfortable, even over on your center console. The steering wheel is also leather wrapped. It's got paddle shifters on it. We have controls for our lane departure, radar cruise, our controls for our big screen with the navigation, as well as our gauge cluster. You can control all of that, your voice functions. It's just a nice steering wheel overall, and you have your little F Sport badge on it as well. Now, talking about these gauges are pretty sweet. In fact, it's kind of just one gauge, actually. You have the LFA-inspired sliding ring gauge, which will change colors depending on what mode you're in. You can also move it to where you can see more information or make it so that you see less information. It's a pretty driver-focused gauge. It's definitely something that I enjoy, but you can see all the information that you really need to, your audio, your navigation, your car information, your economy information. All of that is right there in front of you. Moving over to the center stack, we have the 10.3-inch screen, just like that Lexus IS that I showed you guys. We still don't have CarPlay or Android Auto, but it is coming. At least CarPlay is coming. Standard will be a 10-speaker system with a subwoofer, but we have the Mark Levinson 17-speaker, 835-watt system, and it sounds pretty darn good. On that big screen, we do have a multi-view backup camera, which is nice. It also will show you with parking sonar. We have parking sonar front and rear, and it will show you on there and on your instrument cluster if you're getting close to something or not. Moving down to the center console, all the buttons are easy to push. It does look a bit dated, but everything is really easy. We have dual zone climate control with some touch-sensitive adjusting sliders, but there's physical buttons where you want them. Plus, we have our heated seats and ventilated seat buttons, which are easy to operate, and they're 3-tier for both of them. The ventilated seats do work pretty well. Next to our shifter, our automatic shifter, we do have our driving mode button where you can do Eco, Normal, Custom, Sport, and Sport Plus. And Sport Plus are not going to change your throttle response, your engine and transmission, but they will take steering input into account to change basically activate that adaptive variable suspension for optimal handling and damping. Our traction control button and our snow button are there as well. And then this shifter is nice. It is a perforated leather. It feels good. You can move it into M for manual mode to upshift and downshift, and plus your paddle shifters on the steering wheel. We do have 2 cup holders, and these are the only 2 actual cup holders here. They are not necessarily adjustable, but my large bottle does fit inside of them, so that's okay. And they're in a better spot than they were in the IS. The IS, they were pretty much right on your passenger's armrest, which was pretty annoying. But my wife can sit next to me, passengers can sit next to me, and still borrow this armrest with me. And then our model has the actual touchpad instead of the little scrolling mouse type thing that was in the IS. The touchpad does take getting used to, but I don't really find a reason to complain about it. It feels nice. It's still easy to operate, you get a sense and a feel for where everything is on your big screen, and it does give you some feedback. So when you're moving your finger on there, it will kind of vibrate or click when you get to each little icon to click on. So it gives you some feedback, and it's really not difficult to use at all. The only thing that I wish that this little touchpad had was it does have a map button, a menu button, a back button. I wish it had an audio button, so you just quickly hit that audio button and then just show you your stuff on the screen. Moving back to this armrest is very soft. It's not quite as padded as I would say, but it feels very high quality. It feels nice. It's got stitching on the sides. When you open it up, one thing is there's not a pass-through for a cord to get through, so you got to be careful not to be pitching your cords when you have your USB cord going out or an auxiliary cord, because we do have 2 USB ports, an auxiliary port, and it's lined with some nice material on the inside, and it's about the size you would expect. Not too big, not too small. Lexus does give us a frameless auto-dimming rearview mirror with 3 garage openers, which is always nice. We do have touch-sensitive LED lights up above, and those are very bright. The LED lights are always nice to see in a vehicle, and the fact that they're touch-sensitive is actually pretty convenient. You don't have to feel around. You can just smash your hand up there and touch them. There's no sunglass holder here, but we do have the optional power moonroof. It's not a panoramic roof, just a normal roof. And then as we go over to the glove box and the dash is a nice material as well. It's pretty clean looking. The glove box is lockable. It opens up. It's nice on the inside. It's got a good lining. It's not real big, but you can't really expect anything different from that. And then when we go to the back seat, the back seat. So if you're a child, or maybe you, for example, I'm 5'9", and I can't sit up straight back there. If the seat is far enough forward, I can fit with my knees without bumping into the seat, but it's very cramped. But the biggest thing is that the height with this coupe, I just can't sit back there. If you are, closer to 5 foot, and surely probably anybody under that, you might be pretty comfortable, because those seats are definitely soft. There's only 2, but the problem is there's no cup holders, there's no center armrest, which is something I don't understand, but there's kind of a hard plastic thing back there, basically just separating you and the other passenger. So let's talk about what's under the hood powering this car. The RC300 will come with 2 different engine options. If you have the all-wheel drive, you will get a 3.5-liter V6 that is tuned less than the RC350 V6. With this rear-wheel drive model that we have here, we'll get a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo. It's a twin-scroll turbo, and that'll put out 241 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, and that torque will come out at 1650 RPMs up to 4,400 RPMs. The 0 to 60 is disappointing. In this car, it does feel a little heavy, and it's supposed to get 7.3 0 to 60, which just is not fast enough. But if you do go up to that RC350, you'll get a V6 that puts out 311 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque, and that'll get you 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds, which is definitely better. The rear-wheel drive models for these RC cars will get an 8-speed direct shift automatic transmission, and the all-wheel drive cars will get a 6-speed automatic transmission. So my initial impression of this car is that you sit very low. It's definitely a drop getting down into these seats, which is fine. It helps to make it feel a little bit sportier. Visibility is not too bad, actually. I mean, we got these big side windows, of course. These pillars aren't too bad, and not a bad car to sit behind the wheel. So starting out, we are in sport mode, just basic sport, not sport plus. Traction control is on, and we do have a Torsen limited slip differential. Let's see what we got. The traction control kicked on. Got up to 60 there. Not too bad. Plus, right now, I do have the active sound control turned up. So there is going to be some enhanced sound or some sound coming in that's not real, but I think it sounds fine. It doesn't, I enjoy having the sound, and even just having the option of turning it off and on. So when you talk about the ride and the handling is pretty good. It does feel a little heavy, and honestly, it doesn't feel quite as sure-footed as the IS, and I don't know if that's just in my head, but it just feels a little bit heavier. The ride is comfortable, like I was saying before, with the suspension setup that we have. It's definitely a comfortable cruiser, especially in this model, considering, and this isn't the actual RCF. It's not meant for quite as much performance. It's definitely something comfortable. It gives you the luxury feel that you want. Another thing about my initial impression with it is that it feels very solid. Everything feels so solid when you're driving. It just feels like a solid car. My one complaint is that it's louder than I would have expected for a Lexus. It's not. I don't have decibel ratings for the IS, but I would say that this is definitely louder than the IS model that I drove. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sport Plus to optimize our handling here. We've got some blind turns, but we're going to get to go around a few sharp curves here. Grip is definitely good. Braking is good. We got vented front and rear brakes. And you can get a pretty long pull from this engine. It's definitely longer than you would think. It feels just like you would expect for a turbo, and it's holding its RPMs right now. It takes a bit to get going, but you got a good pull out of this. It's still pretty fun. And you can paddle shift, you can downshift, but they're not as fast as you would have hoped. All right, you can whip around some turns pretty good. Obviously, you can't really burn out that back end, but it's still pretty fun to drive. It's something that you can have fun with for about $53,000. Now, if you're looking for just performance, something that you want for performance, there's definitely better options. But for a good combination of some luxury features, looks, interior trimmings, the Lexus reliability nameplate, you really can't go wrong with this car. Personally, I would probably go for the IS if I was looking at this price range for a Lexus. But still, this car is well put together. If you want a coupe, of course, you can get the coupe here. All right, so now I've got it shifted over into the M mode, so we can use these paddle shifters, and I've used them some. One complaint is that, so the red line is about 6,200 RPMs, and this will shift before it even gets to 6,000 RPMs on its own in manual mode, but let's get going. Yeah, like right there, I tried to shift right after it actually shifted. The first time from first gear to second gear, it actually let me do it, but unless you want to downshift, going around some turns or something and try to pull out of them, I would probably just let the car do its thing. The S and S Plus are not as aggressive as I would have hoped, honestly, but they do enhance the driving here. So what do y'all think of that sound from the active noise control? I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to put it in just normal mode. That doesn't necessarily affect the sound, but it affects the engine transmission response. So active sound control is off, and once I get on the accelerator here, you'll be able to tell the difference. It's definitely quieter, and when I did the decibel rating here, I had that sound control off. So much quieter. Well, what do y'all think? Would you buy this car? About $53,000 MSRP. Compared to the IS, if you haven't seen that IS review, please watch that one, because I do go into a bit more detail, a more point of view experience of the interior and the exterior, so check that out if you want to see that. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. That's going to be it. Please stay tuned for weekly videos. Hit the subscribe button and click the bell down below if you have not already. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you guys next time. Once again, I want to say thank you to you guys for tuning in, and thank you to Dave Erickson of Everyman Driver for having me on the channel. Please be sure to look in the description below for a link to my channel. Hit subscribe for my channel. Hit subscribe for Dave's channel. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.